Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Yoon, and sorry if you can hear my sister. She's very enthusiastically playing games with her friends. So yeah, I think you might have just heard a gasp, but today's video is a read vlog of my #1 most anticipated read of 2022, which is The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axie. And I know you might be wondering, this came out, wow, it came out so long ago, I don't even remember when it came out. It came out, I want to say it came out in May. So this book came out February, and you might be wondering, Yoon, it's already August. If this is your #1 most anticipated read, why are you only reading it now? Well, the thing is, I was so excited to read this book. I managed to convince a friend of mine to buy it, and then we decided to do a buddy read. However, our schedules just got too busy, and my friend has been consistently busy, that we were able to read the first 10 chapters, but then after that, communications on this kind of went dead because she was just too busy to schedule a time for us to FaceTime and talk about the book and then keep on with the buddy read. And I feel really bad, but so I'm going to just go ahead and read the book, and then maybe just I think it's gonna be a book I'm gonna like a lot, so I won't mind rereading it and talking it over with my friend. But yeah, so I feel bad, but also I really want to read this book. So that's why I'm doing the reading vlog now. I did have a few clips already for the first 10 chapters, but since I'm just going to reread it because I vaguely remember but not a lot, I'm just going to redo it and then refilm not refilm me reading it, but I'm just going to reread the 10 chapters, update you on like maybe new thoughts, new annotations, and then keep on reading. And I'm going to be a little extra this reading vlog because as this was my #1 most anticipated read, I knew that Fairyloot was doing it. So sorry. I had to wait 5 months to get this edition. It's a very crazy story time, but I finally got it. And also I'm like, it's such a waste to just have the book and not read from it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the story through here, but have this standard cover on the side, and anytime I want to annotate something or highlight or tab, I'm just going to open to this edition, annotate it here, but then keep reading on this edition. And I feel really extra, but I'm like, I just want to read through this edition because it's absolutely gorgeous. I'll probably cut to a more a better viewing of it, but yeah. So I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna read the first 10 chapters tonight. It's Saturday, 11:13 p.m. I'm kind of sleepy, but not really feeling it, so I'm just going to read the first 10 chapters. It shouldn't take me too long. And now I will cut to showing you how the Fairyloot looks like.
Soul, let my heart turn stone. Guess I gotta say it twice, it ain't my fault. Every little thing got a price, that's what I thought, that's what they taught. Yeah, I'ma take my chance till I drop. You know this ain't the time for the two of us. Ooh, I ain't got space to be thinking about growing older, done my thinking, me and you. Guess it's over. It was a rainbow, but was sinking. Lost my hue. I might come running back when our hearts get back on track. When the stars line up, that's that. I've been a
because I have to speak a bit quieter because my door is open and my some people are sleeping. But it is currently Sunday, 8 p.m. I am going to talk about what I read yesterday. So I read an extra chapter over the 10 that I had already read like yesterday night, and I am really liking this book. It's giving me strong 4.5, even 5-star rating. I'm just having a really fun time. I'm loving the vibes. I am getting very strong Spirited Away vibes of the spirit world, and I'm really liking Mina. Shin is still a bit of a mystery, but I really like Namgi and what's his name? Tice? Is it Namgi? Yeah, but Namgi, it's one scene, he's so freaking cute. But I'm really liking the characters. I'm really liking the writing in comparison to describing the spirit world. It's very good at delivering the comforting, warm, exciting world of the spirit world. And yeah, so I have annotated some more on this copy, and the biggest thing for me is, so I am very much enjoying it, but the whole aspect of fate right now is what I think very confusing, because there's a lot of aspects that make it seem like fate is not as what's the word? Is not as set in stone as what you would expect the meaning of fate to be. So the way the concept and idea of fate being played here is still very confusing, and I'm hoping that we kind of get to a definitive conclusion to it soon, or just let the information on fate in this universe settle in. But yeah, a lot pretty complicated, pretty confusing to me, because it seems like some aspects of fate are like contradicting each other in the story. But other than that, that seems to be the biggest issue I'm having right now. There was a surprising reveal at the end of the chapter 11, which I was not expecting, but I'm very much looking forward to see how it's gonna work out. My hair looks so messy. Anyways, hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, welcome back to the reading vlog. Let me check. So I don't remember what chapter I had been reading when I updated you guys last time. I want to say it was on chapter 12. So I got to chapter 17. I'm like, I want to say I'm halfway at this point. However, I think I'm going to reread the book again, because I feel like I haven't really been like actually absorbing and taking in the story, the writing, and the characters, because I don't know what it is, but I feel slightly detached to what's going on in a way, not like in the I don't care kind of way, but in the way that it feels like I haven't really been actually paying attention to the story. Because, like, don't get me wrong, I am very much enjoying the writing, the story, and the characters, specifically Mina, Tai, and Namgi. However, there's just this weird feeling of detachment in that I feel like I'm not really actually taking in the story and really knowing if I am enjoying it or not. So I think I'm going to reread it. I really don't know why I was like that. It could be because of the really weird not best mood I had while reading these Violent Delights. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna reread it. I'm wondering if I want to reread it here, because while the font is bigger, the binding on the book seems kind of weak. Like, if you see here, it seems like it'll snap. That it makes me a little nervous to snap it. So I've been reading the book carefully, kind of like this way, so I'm wondering if that's also the reason why I feel like I've been kind of detached from the story. So maybe I'll just read it straight up again, but yeah, so I think I'm going to reread all 16 chapters again and then get back to you and hopefully not feel this weird sense of detachment, because I have no idea what's going on. Like, I really want to be able to read this book in the best state, because I want to, well, I would like it if I enjoy it to the point of a 5-star read, but also because this is my #1 anticipated read, I do want to be able to give it the attention I want to give it, and the attention I feel like it deserves as my #1 anticipated read of this year. And yeah, also cover is gorgeous, so I want to take my time reading it. So that is my state currently with The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axie. I have reached chapter 17. However, like I've been saying, I feel like I haven't been fully absorbed or paying attention to the story, hence the odd sense of detachment. And as a result, I will be once again rereading the first half of the book. One thing I will let you know though, so update on the story itself, very fast read. Some moments do confuse me, which those moments of confusion also confused me, because there was this one scene that had me confused because I didn't remember reading about it, but then it confused me because I was so sure I was reading everything well and taking into what was going on, that was like, did I really not read that scene? Because I couldn't remember what scene they were referring to, because the timeline didn't seem like it matched. So that was just very confusing. One thing I am slightly surprised about is the lack of romance so far. So before the book came out, I remember the author was doing a Q&A on any questions about this book, and one person had asked how much romance is there, and she had put like a 6 stars out of 5, or like 5 out of 5 or more, 5 stars out of 5. So I've been expecting at least an inclination or development to a romance between the two from a very early moment of time. However, I feel like now is just where we're starting to get that. So I don't know how the romance is going to develop enough to make the author rate it herself 5 or more than 5 stars out of a 5-star rating for romance. So I'm a little curious to see how that'll work out. However, I really do get the Spirited Away vibes. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really liking Mina's character. I love this one moment between her and Namgi, not in a romantic sense, but it was just so cute. Oh, Shin, surprisingly, like I've been saying, I'm still on the fence about, because we're kind of getting some things about him, but not enough, and we're already halfway in the book, so, you know, there's also that. And I just had to laugh a little bit, because there was this one scene where I was like, oh, so he's not like the other guy. That's literally what that moment was, and I could not help but laugh. So yeah, so that is the update. This whole update talking came out a lot longer than I expected, but that is the situation. So I'm going to go back, reread the first 16, well, reread the 16 chapters, read more, and then once again get back to the vlog. So see you all later. didn't think this book was gonna hit me that hard. Okay, so yes, it is currently Tuesday. I finished The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea yesterday, and I absolutely adored the story. So first of all, 4 to a 4.5 on the actual story, 5 out of 5 for what this book means to me. So before we get to the 5 out of 5, let me just talk about my thoughts on the story and why I gave it a 4 to 4.5. So the first thing is, it felt like there were some inconsistencies within the plot, mainly the whole concept of the red string of fate, which is quite the large part of the book. In the beginning, I was extremely confused because I wasn't fully understanding what the whole red string of fate concept and myth was working in this story, because, you know, red string of fate is supposed to be your one and only true soulmate. However, there was also some red string of fate connecting the sea god to all of his other brides, but none of them ended up being the one true love, or else he would have woken up and the curse would have been broken. So the way in which the red string of fate was introduced in the beginning was very confusing, because it didn't seem like it was consistent with its information and the myth that it's like the more widely known myth of the red string of fate. So I felt like there's some inconsistencies in that, and I think I might understand it now, but it felt like there were also some inconsistencies within the events of the story, or just relationships between the characters and everything, because sometimes I would read something and then that piece of information is referring to something else that had happened in the book, but it didn't make much sense because the two just didn't seem connected at that point. So some inconsistencies with the story and just information and events. I do feel like the story left a lot of loose threads that were unfortunately not tied in the end. And I feel like this book should have been longer because, well, first of all, I really wanted an epilogue because I wanted a more concrete conclusion to Mina and Shin's story, especially her reunion with the people in the spirit world. And I feel like a longer book would have been better to develop their romance, cause like the other books I've read, I didn't like the other books I've read, I didn't fully perceive the development of their romance. And don't get me wrong, the story I still think is really well written. It's definitely very easy language, so if you are looking into getting into or wanting to so if you are thinking and looking for books to want to get into YA fantasy, this would be a really good book recommendation. The language is very easy and very simple writing, but it did not make it bad. In fact, for me personally, the writing really delivered Spirited Away vibes. I really understood why this is compared to as Spirited Away meets something else that I don't know. I absolutely adore all the characters. Dai and Miki's story had me in tears. I did not expect this book to get so emotional near the end of the book. This isn't even sad tabs, I had to change it to emotional, but near the end I have just like a whole bunch of blue tabs, and the story here is just so touching. I was expecting more romance. I was not expecting, but was pleasantly surprised by the importance put on family and just relationships with each other, and it's just so heartwarming, so touching. And gosh, I was gonna say something else, but I can't remember what it was. Oh, but it was a good thing. It was a good thing. But it's just, and one thing I really enjoyed what this story kind of made me think was how everyone's story is important whether you know it or not. And I just loved the importance she placed on the little things here and on just very touching, oh my gosh, Di and Mickey's story. Oh, it's so important. I can't. Anyways, the characters are also really, really heartwarming and just so cute, and you can't help but root for them. Mina, I really enjoyed her as a main character. I really, really enjoyed her as a main character. She is very strong, she's stubborn, she's not sure of herself, but she takes what she thinks is the right choice and she sticks with it, which is very admirable. And yeah, the characters and just reading this book. Okay, now I'm gonna get into the significance part, but reading this book, I could really, really feel this as the author's love letter to her Korean heritage and identity, and just the love she has for her culture and, you know, the history and the stories that Korean culture has. And that whole aspect was just so meaningful to me. This book now has a very strong and special place in my heart because I have never felt more seen in a book than I have in this one. I don't think I've ever felt like this before. POCs always want to have representation for a good reason, and I've always seen a lot of people mention how seeing this character on TV, if they were younger, would have like made them realize that it's normal and it's a normal thing for them to exist on media. And I never truly understood what they meant by that until I read this book. I am just so emotional having read this book because of just how seen I was. I really felt tears come to my eyes when Mina started telling Korean folk tales and stories, because it's just, I grew up learning those stories as well, and it was just something to like know and understand what was happening in the story, knowing all the references, understanding like the clothing, the terms of addresses and whatnot, and reading the story with the swallow. I knew then that this book was so important because it was just really represents how I just felt, because also I like grew overseas, so I'm not super knowledgeable about Korean culture or history or anything like that. I grew up a lot more with, you know, English books, like Western mythology, Western history, etc. So having the two, especially an aspect of Korean culture that I did grow up with, and having it be so strongly existent within, you know, like an English written book, it was just so heartwarming and touching to just have something connect the two together. And yeah, this book just really means a lot to me now. Thoroughly one of my favorites that I will hold dear in my heart from now on. And yeah, that is basically the biggest reason. I wrote other stuff in it, but I can't remember what it was. So that's basically it, but this book just truly means a lot to me. I'm so glad that I read it. I'm so glad it exists in this world. But yeah, I also really enjoy the way the retelling was, how this shows it's a retelling, because also for just beginners or to either reading or YA fantasy, I feel like this is a really good one to start, especially if you want to get into retellings, because unlike other retellings that I've seen in which they'll reference or mention little aspects of the legend, this one actually straight out tells you the entire folktale at one point. However, sometimes inserts don't do so well, but in this case the insert was actually very seamlessly included, so you don't have to know the retelling for this story because you'll eventually find out about it within the book itself anyways. But guys, this book is so touching because story-wise, like plot-wise, it may not have been the best, but the characters, the relationships, the importance placed on the characters, no matter how big or small their story might have been, just makes, I feel like it just makes it so comforting that it makes you feel seen, makes you feel important, and just the comforting vibe, the comforting, magical, whimsical vibes throughout the entirety of the story due to the spirit world. Really, really well executed, really, really beautiful writing. Very simple writing too, so it's very easy to read. So cute. And just a little, I don't know, but the whole fact that it makes it feel very Korean, but written, you know, in English obviously, it just is very, very touching to have read, very emotional. And surprisingly, the book does get, not in a bad, sad way, but it's just it's a very touching and emotional story. So I really thought I wasn't gonna take much longer to talk about it, but I did. But yeah, so this book, truly, truly important to my heart, and it holds a very special place in it now. So that was it for the reading vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. That was it for this reading vlog. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye.